What if I told you that there are two systems in America? The one that you see and the one that runs everything that you see. Now, one is the economic truth. We talk about this on this channel, how money is created, moved, sold, recycled. The immorality of this economic system. It just doesn't make sense. And then we also talk about the other legal truth, the rules that the courts enforce, abide by, even when they don't match the economic reality. So between them lies the gap where the entire financial system hides. So tonight, we're gonna bridge both worlds together, and you're gonna see why you must understand the illusion and the reality if you wanna operate with power. Thank y'all for watching this video. Once again, this is probably gonna be one of the most important videos as it pertains to anything in regards to the economy, in regards to private banking, in regards to trust, in regards to owning a business, in regards to fixing your credit. This is going to be one of the most important videos, probably one of the most grossing videos, because it's going to tap into the understanding that this shit just doesn't make sense. And we go into court with real truths and understanding, and the truth is out there, but for some reason, it doesn't work for me. For some reason, the judges will deny it. Some reason, the courts will deny it. Some reason, attorneys and lawyers will deny that it works. For some reason, people won't work with me. That's because we have to understand that even in real life, illusion and reality coexist. And I've said this in multiple times. So we're gonna take a quick pause from contract law. We're gonna bring it back, talking about remedy in the future. But for right now, let's do this. Now, if you're brand new, remember to hit the like button. Remember to hit the subscribe button. Tap into the channel. You invest into the channel, I'll continue to invest in you. Now, number two, make sure to do your due diligence. Everything that I'm talking about is only for educational purposes only. Get your legal advice and your financial advice from a professional. Thank y'all for watching this again. Let's dive into another one. This video is sponsored by the Fund Yourself Academy. My step-by-step system designed to help you fix your credit, get funding, and build real financial freedom from scratch. If you're tired of feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or just ready to stop living paycheck to paycheck, this is where it changes. Inside the Academy, I break down everything from consumer law secrets that they don't teach in school to how to remove negative items and boost your score, get access to business funding, and start building multiple income streams online. Whether you're just starting out or ready to level up your game and get the bag, this is your playbook. We've got tools, templates, dispute letters, mentorship calls, private community access, and an exact roadmap I use to leave my 9-to-5 and create time freedom. But only for a limited time, you can get access to the Fund Yourself Academy on a free trial basis for the next 7 days. And then after that, you pay less than $1 a day at $27 a month, if you like it. No fluff, just facts and just freedom. Go to thefundyourselfacademy.com or hit the link in the description to join now, because nobody's coming to save you, but you can fund yourself. So just to pretty much start out, the banks don't lend money the way that you think. Okay, they don't risk deposits. They don't hand out reserves. They don't fund loans the way the movies do. Understand that there's a twist that the internet gets wrong. The twist is that just because the economic truth is different doesn't mean the legal system accepts the arguments about it. So when you are arguing about the element of securitization, the fact that they're double dipping, unjust enrichment, all these things that we know are true. I talk about this in my last video, that you can't inherently lead your arguments in the courtroom like with unjust enrichment, equity, and things of that nature. It's only there to truly strengthen your argument. We're going to kind of tie all that together, but I kind of want to make sense of why the fact that we know that we are being taken advantage of. We know that we are in a system that is rigged. Even though the system is rigged, and we understand that a lot of this stuff is an illusion, a lot of this stuff is fake, it's still a game, right? Just like Monopoly. If you play the game of Monopoly, yes, it's a fake game, but there are rules to the game. And if you want to play Monopoly and actually win Monopoly, you have to play Monopoly exactly how it's played. And that's exactly where the legal truth comes into play. There's the economic truth, what we see beyond the veil, and then there's the legal truth, how to actually take what we know so that they are not using this information, this truth, against us. And we can be able to get out and opt out of that negative truth that we understand about the economy. So make sure you stick around all the way to the end, because you are living in two worlds at once. And the freedom comes from navigating both. Some of us want they understand the economic truth, and what they want to do is go private, which I don't blame you. It's messed up. But what if I told you that if you understood, just like a dream, right? You could lucid dream. Yeah, a dream is not like actual reality, but to some people it's the spirit realm. To some people it's another universe. Some people was calling that a version of the metaverse. But imagine if you're able to go in your dream, and you guys can look this up, lucid dreaming. But imagine if you can go in your dream, and there's sometimes, or as a matter of fact, there's sometimes even when you was a kid, when you was dreaming, some of you still do it now, where in the dream something is happening, but then at some point you realize it's a dream, and you start actually controlling the dream. You start actually manifesting anything that you want in the dream. You start being able to fly. You start being able to pull up certain things. Oh, I know this is a dream. And then for most people, they wake up as soon as they get to that realization. But there is another level to that. Once you are able to get past the part of waking up, if you can stay in that dream state, you pretty much will put yourself in a position to even do things like astral project, continue to lucid dream, and create all types of realities in your own mind. So when you use Monopoly as the game aspect, and you think of the dream, being able to manipulate the dream however you want, it could be a nightmare that can completely shift to a fun dream. But it all depends on how you control it. You can't really stop a dream because it's natural. I mean, you probably could if you take medication or whatever the case may be. And it's almost in the essence of, you can't, if you're going to be in this economic system, if you're going to make money, if you're going to be participating in commerce, you have to learn how to control what we understand about the economic truth and the legal truth so that we can be able to grow. All right? Now, so let's just talk about the economic truth. We understand how money actually works because of modern money mechanics, because of modern banking, private banking, everything that we talk about on this channel. Modern banking isn't about lending. We understand that. It's about creating credit through entries. So if we understand this about creating credit through entries, this is what happens. You sign a note, and I had a diagram. As a matter of fact, if I had the diagram right now, we'll pull it up. You sign the note, that signature becomes an asset. The bank books your promise as value, and then they create equal credit on the liability side. There's no pile of money removed. There is no vault open, no reserves transferred. They didn't risk anything out of their own pockets. Because in modern money mechanics, it says that they are able to do fractional banking by taking our promissory notes. Okay? When they get the promissory notes, they're able to create credit, and then the Federal Reserve is a clearinghouse system that balances the books. So when they take that promissory note, deposit it as an asset for, let's just say it's a $300,000 mortgage, they deposit the $300,000 as an asset, and then they create a reverse liability. This is called a mirror liability on you for $300,000, negative $300,000. But then what happens is, in the grand scheme of things, being able to if they actually loaned you money, yes, it would make sense for you to pay them back. But in the grand scheme of things, it's really a credit extension that has happened. So the truth is the fact that they're not funding you like the contract says. They're actually recording the fact that you submitted an asset. They are doing what's called accounting. And the banks operate off a risk-off model. They then sell the loan. They then securitize the loan. If you don't know what securitization is, when they bundle a bunch of our promissory notes, and then they sell it to Wall Street, sell it to investors. And then those investors then take, I don't know what they do with it, but they make more money off of it. None of the money that you ever see, and then for the rest of your life, you are spent paying for something that everybody else is making money off of. And nobody actually, risk their own promise, if that makes sense. They also do things like insure the loan. They do things like service the loan, right? Servicing the loan and actually giving the loan is two different things, okay? The servicers are typically the people that are reaching out to you for the bill. But you can challenge a servicer on whether or not they have servicing rights, and that's just using the legal truth, right? Because we understand that they didn't loan you money, but you couldn't really go off the argument of they never lent me money. You have to go based off of disclosures that they probably will not be able to produce because of that economic truth. Does that make sense? All right. And they also remove exposure. Now, the entire machine is built on leverage, not really lending. They are leveraging your promise. Because you made that promise to pay back $300,000, $300,000, what happens is that was a negotiable instrument that became a financial asset to the bank. The bank, it cannot make money without people putting in loans, and it cannot make money without people acquiring assets with credit. Okay. Now that we understand that economic truth, now let's talk about the legal truth. This is the part where most people get lost. They understand the economic truth. They get inspired by the economic truth. The fact that the banks are committing fraud every single day. The fact that they're doing things like wire fraud, transmission fraud, racketeering, potentially. The fact that they are, benefiting off of our detriment. The fact that they do things like post things on our credit report that is slander, that could be defamation of character, that is a violation of our privacy. The fact that they do things like harm us in the element of keeping us from being able to purchase a home so we can have a place to live, which is our God-given right to be able to have those things. And this whole credit system was created so that we can be able to have those things without, giving away our rights. Okay. Now, I want you to understand that courts are not in the business of debating the economic nature of money. Do you gather that? Courts enforce contracts, not macroeconomics. You get what I'm saying? I'm going to say it again. Courts enforce contracts, not macroeconomics. So you cannot go into court and argue about the nature about money, but you can use that as a knowledge bomb of what you know so that they don't try to take advantage and make it seem like you don't know what you are talking about. All right? It's only for a knowledge bomb. All right? And it's only if you are strategically using it in your argument. But your argument has to align with the fact that, that point that you make. Okay? When you sign, you promise to repay. They promise to extend credit. That mutual promise is lawful consideration. Credit issuance equals performance in the eyes of law. Now, we could argue that if they don't give cash in hand, then technically they never actually loaned us money. Okay. And there is some case law that I'm gonna have to pull up to kind of just give the reverse action of that. All right. The courts don't ask, did they risk their own money? And the courts ask, did they perform according to the contract? This is the legal truth. The law treats your credit line as money, even if economics says it is. Okay? Now, this may be discouraging to some people, but the important question is, did they perform according to the contract? Now, if they have failed to perform in any element according to contract law, and if you haven't watched any of my contract law, my law consideration series, it was my last 4 videos, okay, where I essentially talked about the element of disclosure, the element of transparency, the element of remedy, the element of documentary evidence, unjust enrichment. When they failed those parts of the contract, this will make that very contract that they will be saying you're not performing on unlawful, because it will not meet those certain criteria. But you cannot attack them right away based off of contract law. There are things in the UCC that kind of covers disclosures, like Article 9 for accounting, that covers negotiable instruments, like UCC Article 3, that covers your privacy and your in your credit report under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. That's a statute that covers debt collection practices, that covers lending practices. And under there, the most important thing is the element of them disclosing and informing you about whatever it is that they're trying to attach you to. Okay. So illusion and reality, it's a dual system that's going on. This is the heart of the teaching. I want you to understand that this is illusion, the public story. Banks lend money. That is delusion. And then there's the reality, the internal mechanism, the fact that banks create credit, not lend money, they create credit. And how do they create credit? Through us. Our promise gives them the ability to create credit, or else without us, they cannot create credit. Now, here's the other element of that. It also says in the Fair Credit Reporting Act that if they fail, specifically talking about the credit bureaus, it can undermine the public confidence and affect the banking system, because the banking system is dependent upon that. And I can pull that up under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, 15 USC 1681. I haven't actually pulled up the law in a second in my video, But 15 U.S.C. 1681, Congressional Findings, Statement of Purpose, it says the banking system is dependent upon fair and accurate credit reporting. Inaccurate credit reports directly impair the efficiency of the banking system. It also says that unfair credit reporting undermines the public confidence, which is essential to the continued functioning of the banking system. So yes, this is the Fair Credit Reporting Act, but this is very apparent. It says the banking system is dependent upon, right, the public's confidence. They wouldn't want to undermine the public's confidence. Why? Because it is essential to the functioning of the banking system. Okay? These are some indications that know your actual power. All right? So, not only do we understand the illusion, we understand the reality, but then there's the legal frame, which is the enforceable layer. What is the enforceable layer? Courts uphold the contract. Now, these three coexist. The illusion is for the consumer, the economic truth is for the system, and the legal reality is for the courts. I'm sorry, but that's just how it is. This is why you may be in a position where you can't win, or you feel like you won't ever win, because obviously when you are attacking them from the angle of the economic truth, they don't want the truth to be out there. Imagine if somebody actually allows that truth to be out there, then how many people, I mean, man, this whole entire system was shut down. And I don't know how these videos, I can average over 200,000 views and I don't know. So, if you don't understand all three, you'll end up trapped in one. You're not crazy for seeing the truth. I want you to understand that. You're not crazy for understanding this economic truth. You are powerful for understanding which truth the law responds to. And that's the fact that the law responds to the legal reality. The facts that banks create credit, not lend money, and that creation of credit is lawful consideration. Okay? Now, why courts ignore this economic truth? The courts ignore this economic truth because stability of commerce. Like I just said before, the entire banking system is dependent upon us. And if they undermine us or in some way, shape, or form, we lose trust in them, guess what? We stop banking. And do you know what makes the United States most of its money? Banks. Okay. Also gives the United States a lot of its control is the banks. Okay. If courts debated fractional reserves, credit creation, securitization, and how loans are sold or insured, the entire commercial system would collapse. Okay? So the court simply asks, did you get access to the credit? Yes, that equals performance. Did you use the credit? Yes, that equals obligation. Did both sides follow the contract? If no, equals correction, not always cancellation. Courts don't invalidate commerce because the machinery behind it feels unfair. They enforce the paperwork and correct errors within the paperwork. So they know that this is unfair. They know that it's going to be hard. And I'm not saying this to discourage you, but to give you the truth and the reality. You have to be very strategic when you are challenging them, and you cannot go at them with emotion. Okay? Now, let's talk about how to really flip the script so that you can be able to get real leverage. Even though the courts ignore the economic truth, the economic truth causes problems in the paperwork. Follow me. And if you haven't already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Securitization leads to things like broken chain of assignment. It leads to things like gaps in ownership, missing disclosures, inconsistent ledgers, misapplied payments, incorrect balances. A charge-off leads to accounting resets. It leads to servicing transfers. Because if somebody charges off your debt, they probably filed a 1099-A or 1099-C. So there is a recording out there that they have released the obligation. Servicing transfers, interest miscalculations, assignment errors. And this is where you win legally. You win legally by calling them out on these very disclosures that can actually be produced, right? Even if we understand that this fact, they have to be able to produce this stuff for us. The economic truth gives you confidence because you know that when you do send those letters and you do send conditional acceptance, they're probably not going to be able to prove it, nor will they actually give you the actual truth, which is a violation of contract law, which is a violation of Constitution. Commerce. So you don't really argue banking theory, you guys. You audit the fallout of the banking theory. Now, in my videos, especially when I do talk about this, I do this to build excitement and help you understand. All right, to show you guys that it's actually real. Okay, The system does this because it wants to look complex so that you won't try to do anything. But when you actually do conditional acceptance, challenge them, ask them for the disclosures, you'll see gaps and cracks in their information. Okay. Now, here's how you essentially take both worlds and make them work. Okay. Number one, you acknowledge the economic truth. You acknowledge it. You watch the videos. You go ahead and do your research so that you can believe it and understand it. But you must operate inside the legal truth. So your letters, your challenges has to be on the legal side. It has to use UCC frameworks. It has to use contract law frameworks. It has to use things like the Freedom of Information Act. It has to use accounting frameworks. It has to use these things in order for you to be able to actually win, to bring up something that they cannot perform on. All right? Don't challenge the existence of money. Okay, for right now, let's just treat the existence of money like it's real. This is the question where people say, well, if this is the case, if money isn't real, why do you still work to make money? Well, simply because that illusion and that reality is also able to coexist. Okay, because I'm playing this game, this is exactly why I am choosing to still make money. I don't want to go off the grid because I want to build wealth. I want to be able to create impact so that I can be able to set up my family. If I go off the grid, I decide to have children, that'd be a much harder life. What would you rather fight, a bank or the bear? Some people in the comment section say, I'd rather fight the bear. It's natural. If I die, I die. Well, hey, you don't challenge the existence of money. You challenge the accuracy of the record. You don't attack the system. You expose its inconsistencies. You don't fight the machinery, you follow the paper trail it leaves behind. So, this is your power. You see the illusion, you understand the reality, and you use the law to navigate both. That is how you do it. Because once you see two systems, you never go back. Once one runs on the illusion and one runs on accounting. The law responds to paper, not philosophy. Okay? I give you all the philosophies, and that's for you. The inner work that you have to understand. Learn the paperwork, and suddenly the entire system becomes predictable. Now, thank y'all for watching this video. Obviously, if you want to learn more about this, tap into the school community. The link is in the description. If you want to be mentored by me, consulted by me, any form, shape, or fashion, tap in more on mentorship. In my mentorship, we offer free credit repair for anybody that's a part of the mentorship. If you want to understand the hidden machinery of credit, contracts, tap in with me. All right. Obviously, you don't. There's some people in the comment section say, oh, you're trying to sell and this, that, and the third. No, I'm just putting it out there because there are people who do want help. There are people who do want more information. There are people who do want my resources. And there's some people who think that I should put my energy, time, labor, and attention and create resources and just give them away for free. But the thing is like everybody can do this. Everybody can do their own research. Everybody can go online and create their own resource, type out these letters themselves. And as much information I give in these videos, if you are on the right frequency and you are ready to take action, there are a lot of people taking action just from these videos alone. And you can continue to do that, all right? So if you got all that value, not only would tapping into the school community support me so I can continue to drop these videos, but I have the resources in there for you. So tap in, y'all. Thank y'all for watching the video. Remember to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and watch this video right here, okay? Watch this video. This is my last video. Okay? I love y'all, and I'm out.